Welcome back to the River Valley Redneck. Today I'm working on my mom and dad's side-by-side. It is a Coleman 500 outfitter. It needed a new set of seats, so we searched around high and low, never could find the proper seat for it, under close to $450 for both seats. So we decided to look around at universal seats, but this one claimed it fit, but as you can see, it clearly did not. So he ended up buying a set of seats off the internet that are a universal fit, but they do claim that they do fit the Coleman Outfitter 500. And unfortunately, none of the holes that are on this seat line up to any of the holes on the base. So we came up with a game plan to make a bracket that attaches the seat to the original base plate. That's what I'm doing here, is I'm getting measurements and marking where I need to cut my metal. And I figured it'd probably be better to do it this way, so we didn't put holes in the original seat pan. I was afraid that if we started putting holes in the plastic, that when it gets cold it's going to get brittle and it could break. So we decided to keep everything factory on the base plate and just make a bracket. It did raise the seat up about a ½ inch, which it's not too bad. And here I'm punching the holes that I'm going to drill. Whenever you're going to drill holes through metal like that, especially metal, you really want to go ahead and punch the holes in it with a center punch. And that way you can get a good clean hole started rather than fighting it with the drill bit walking off. I'm also using my plasma cutter in order to cut the metal. It's quick and it's easy. I really like my plasma cutter. I use it as much as I can. Here I'm grinding the slag off of it. Whenever you cut with a plasma cutter, it always gets slag on it and you gotta knock it off somehow. I usually just hit it with a hammer or grind it, one of the two. If you like watching do-it-yourself videos or anything outdoors, I suggest you like, share, and subscribe. I'll be doing a lot of this and a lot of outdoors activities and stuff. If you're going to be drilling through a bunch of metal, I highly recommend getting a good stand-up drill press. The tabletop drill presses, they do work. They're just not as effective and not as good as an old school stand-up drill press like this. I think this thing's probably from the 40s or 50s. I picked it up from a guy from a flea market. I think I gave somewhere around $25 or maybe $40 for it. Had to do a little work to it, but not much. I had to put some golf balls on the handles, and it works great. It's been a great workhorse for me for drilling holes. Now here I'm having to notch out a couple of notches. That way my bolts don't interfere with my brackets. And what I'm doing here is I'm making a bracket that's going to mount to this right here. That way I can keep my original mounting points without having to destroy the integrity of the plastic base, because you can't really find those anywhere. And good luck finding seats that actually fit this. It's a Coleman 4x4. I believe it's a 450, 400 or 450 side by side. And I made one already for the passenger seat.
can't even really tell it's under there. It didn't raise it very much at all, and it's real sturdy. It works so far, working real good. Now we're just getting the driver's side seat done and trying to get it as close to original as I can as far as height and distance and everything, because my mom's going to be the one driving it, and she's real particular. So I'm going to get this thing mounted up and then get my crossbars in. I'm going to go bar from here to here, and then I'm going to weld in some bolts in order to actually mount to the plastic base on it. And what I've done is I've marked where the crossbar is going to go. I'll set this thing up here. Got it marked here on the side where I need my bolt hole to be in order to put it back as far as I want it. And I've marked through here where the bolts are going to go. Make sure everything's going to function. I'll get those drilled out, get it bolted to this, and then take the pieces off and tack them together, and then take them off and then weld them all the way together where they're good and solid. Alrighty.
If you'll notice up in the upper right hand corner, you can see my chuck key for my drill, and I got a couple of drill bits hanging there. I've got a magnet stuck on the side of that thing to where I can just unchuck the drill bit, put a new drill bit in it, and chuck it back up, and I can put the chuck key and everything back up there to where I don't ever lose the chuck key. That comes in real handy.
What I'm doing now is I'm running a bolt through. I'm going to go ahead and mount it up to the base plate where it needs to bolt in. The reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to weld these bolts up to the metal plates here. Now what I'll do is I'll just tack these things in, and they won't be going nowhere. Now with those tacked in place, all I got to do now is set the bars on there, make sure this lines up on there, and tack everything together, and then weld it.
Now you see me turning this bracket several times and welding across from everything. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to keep it from warping too bad. So I'll weld one side and then I'll go across the corner to the other side. That way it doesn't heat the metal up too much and get it too hot. That way it doesn't warp too bad, to make it a little easier to fit on there, because if it warps, it's a real pain to get everything straight again. And that ought to do it. It still didn't come back as far as I wanted it.
I think it'll be all right.
It's all right for me, but we'll see about her.
She's shorter than us.
I may have to do some adjusting.
She's shorter than us. Well,
We will see, though.
yeah.
It looks good, though.
Well, all in all, the project went well. I say it was a success, but I do have to do some minor adjustments on it this weekend. My mom, she wants it back a little bit more, to give her just a little bit more room. I think I can squeeze it back maybe an inch, so I'm gonna move that back an inch for her. And other than that, it's comfortable and it's sturdy, and I don't think it's gonna be a problem to move it back an inch or so. But it's about the only way you can replace that seat in that particular side-by-side, unless you want to spend about $500 per seat. There's somewhere around $450 to $500, and he looked all over the place and I looked all over the place, never could find a seat that would fit exact unless it was about $500. So he ended up buying a universal seat. I believe he gave somewhere around $150 for both of them, but it claims that it fits that particular side-by-side, and it didn't. It had to have some minor modifications made to it, and I think the easiest and the best way to do it was the way I did it, was to build some brackets to make everything work. It's better than cutting anything up on the original stuff and possibly messing up the integrity of it to where it could possibly break. So all in all, it was a success. Both seats are great. They're comfortable. They look good. A whole lot better than that tore up seat that they had. And I'm going to do them adjustments this weekend, and I'll probably post some pictures on a later video. So y'all take care, and we'll see you on the flip side.